Today we're going to take a look at Homelands, because 30 years ago, Homelands released. It's a set that has a lot of sentimental appeal for me. I do enjoy the art very much. I like some of the themes that they incorporated. It is very much focused on what was at the time the background of the core set, basically. It gets incorporated into the story in terms of popular creature types like Minotaurs, Heirloom Minotaur, popular in the advertising, Sarah Angel, vampires, lots of stuff. I think Angela just got news that she likes.
Just a little bit of news in case you guys don't know. Even though I don't follow the Blue Jays all the time. The Blue Jays have moved to the next round. Wait, that's a final. That's a World Series. The Blue Jays have made it to the World Series. Yeah!
Doesn't that just mean they won their league?
It means they get to play for to win everything.
Hi, Ryan. Thanks for coming. Vampires, yes. Although, I think there are a couple of vampires in the set now. There weren't when the set released. They were errated to make them vampires because at the time they were like legends.
Oh, the dog is wanting to come back.
So, legend creature type overruled, the thematic creature type, basically, in the early days. So, got some tea in a raccoon cup with a sweater. Go figure. Little cutie. And, yeah. I'm going to go through the set again, just share some of my thoughts, appreciate some of the art, and talk about the cards. And I've got a booster box here. This thing doesn't like to listen to instructions. All right, so speaking of raccoons, there's another one. Which raccoon do you think is cuter? The raccoon in the magical garb with blueberries and tools, or the raccoon wearing a sweater? I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
One of my coworkers told me they saw some otters in a pond today.
Oh,
and
nice.
then we got there, and it was actually muskrats swimming around.
Oh.
Like, I didn't think we had otters this far north. So.
Oh, we had some of those cups got broken. I'm so sad about that. I hope they bring that design back.
Oh. So yeah, like I said, Homelands was the first set I ever collected, and about 15 years ago I picked up this box. It's a sealed box, mostly. The bottom's a little bit damaged. Got a bit torn. But I think it still mostly counts as sealed. Oh, boy. Maybe that is getting worse. Anyway. But, opening it and opening a few packs, I wouldn't open the whole thing, but it might be nice to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the game's this set's release. But, I don't know. Maybe we're better off to save it for the 40th. I put up a short a couple days ago saying we were going to be doing this today and asked if we should open it or keep it sealed. And
I wonder how the title
we had only one comment on that video that said open it, and another one that said keep it sealed. And the one that said keep it sealed was from Ryan here, so somebody I know, and it also got more likes than the one that said open it.
You should see my Anastasia boxes that's iffy on being sealed.
Yeah. Yeah, anybody remember the Mirror Mirror Star Trek box that we opened? Because the kids started playing with it, and yeah, it was no longer really sealed either. It happens sometimes.
Go away, Siri.
So anyway, right now I'm leaning towards not opening it.
Go away, Siri.
Just because of the feedback we got on that. However, I haven't completely ruled it out yet either. 27-year-old set. For Anastasia?
It's almost as old.
Yeah, it's getting there. A lot of these older card games are getting there.
Open. Founder says open.
Well, we'll start by taking a look at the set anyway, and then we'll see what the general consensus is.
I mean, I could put a poll up.
I suppose we could. Anyway.
Oh, I should have put a post in the Discord on the local shop. Why I didn't?
So there's what the booster pack wrappers look like. I saved one of those from
I don't remember
earlier. A Richard Garfield game.
Well, these are good. Can I show off the candy?
And in the background, it says here, hidden away by a mysterious wizard for generations, the forgotten world of Homelands awaits discovery. Revealed within are many peoples, cultures, and creatures In a realm with complex allegiances and sinister plots, what secrets will you uncover as you venture into Homelands? And at the time, this was priced at $1.75, a booster pack. Far, far less than what packs go for now. I think if you got the big packs of like 4th edition that was current at the time, around where I was, they were typically about $4 a pack. You might find Chronicles for $3 or $3.50 or something. Ice Age was about the same as 4th edition initially, but then they went up to $5. And Homelands tended to be in the sort of $2 range. So, but again, it was an 8-card pack. It says that at the bottom, instead of the 15-card packs, so smaller. And you got two cards off the uncommon sheet and 1 card off the rare sheet. So here's a Scry magazine checklist as I was working on it at the time. So this was within a couple of months of release.
There.
And you've got Homelands set price, a booster box price. So a box of 60 booster packs was sold for $100. So, you know, that might have sounded like prices haven't inflated all that much in the last few years, if it wasn't for the last 5 years. Because, you know, a lot of booster boxes you could still find for $200 or less. Now, not so much for anything anymore. But yeah, the way they used to track prices, high, medium, and low.
I just found this at the store.
And my highlighter copy for the ones I was having a hard time finding.
Didn't this used to be Trader Joe's? Why does it just say Joe's now?
And you can see they've recorded which sheet these are on. So things that are commons, common 1, common 2, those are all on the common sheet. Uncommon 1s are basically the rares, and uncommon 3s are the equivalent of an uncommon.
I wish I still had Discord on the iPad.
That's basically how it works out with these packs. And it was a similar setup for any of the 8-card packs that were available at the time or previously. This was the last set that ran that format for its packaging. So
we have 2 votes now.
They were
50-50.
Yeah, well.
Anyways, can I show something?
They were Arabian Nights Antiquities. They had 15 card packs for Legends, but then the Dark, Fallen Empires, and Homelands. Those 5 sets, which were 5 of the first 8 sets, I think, for expansions, were all or maybe it was 5 of the first 7. Anyways, they were all 8-card packs. So, used to be a very popular.
I found some new candies at the store
for expansions.
Can I show it?
I suppose you can show off your candy.
All right. So I found these. They're supposed to be raspberry flavor, but they're like the red raspberries or like whatever. But they're little high fives. They're called high fives. They're so cute. Anyways, I like them.
I ended up paying 8 cents per pack for the 40 Anastasia booster boxes. That's a good deal. I'll give you that. So anyway, start by going through some of the cards here, or most of the cards probably. The Asin Bureaucrats. All the tortures of my vault, horrors pale in comparison to dealing with those petty bureaucrats. The Baron Singir, who is one of the big named character. It was the card that caught the most interest when the set released. The little bureaucrat's a 1/1, and you can tap it to tap target creature with power no greater than 2. Annoying, not very good. I don't remember anyone who played them particularly seriously.
Try a high five?
And there's 2 different artworks and 2 different flavor texts. Fallen Empires was the best set ever for if you wanted alternate arts and flavor texts. Fallen Empires, I don't think they've made a set that's done it better. But for Homelands, the commons here had 2 different arts for most of them, and 2 2 different flavor texts. So I would say that our bureaucrats are no better than vipers, but I shouldn't insult the vipers.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I want to make a meme with that. Oh my goodness. Oh. I got to make a meme. I got to find a way.
Well, we'll see. Abbey Gargoyles. I used to actually play this because Protection from is a powerful ability, and Protection from red is quite big. Most white cards had Protection from black, so having creatures with a second color available with Protection was nice. The Abbey Gargoyles, I always liked the art. They look a little bit menacing. A 3/4 is a decent-sized body. It costs 5, which is a bit much, and very heavy in the white requirement. The problem was, in 4th edition, revised, the base set, basically, every edition since Alpha, for 5, you would get a 4/4 flyer. Whether it was an Air Elemental, a Singear Vampire, or a Serra Angel. These were just outclassed almost always as soon as any of those showed up. They were only really happy if your opponent was playing red heavily.
The highest value card that's on here is 1241.
Oh, I know. This set is renowned for its low card values. That's why, in part, it was never opened, and I'm not really worried about, even though I got that with, questionable sealing, even when I received it. I'm not afraid it was tampered with.
1241?
15 years ago.
What's 1241? Oh,
$12.41
is the most expensive card.
Most expensive card in the set currently.
Yeah.
And there are only 4 cards over $5 in value. Yeah, that basically sounds. There's a couple that have spiked up to $10 or so and then fallen back down.
Anyways, hi Borley, welcome in. I almost said your name wrong.
The Samite Alchemist is a play on the Samite Healer. If you recall Samite Healer from the base set, it was a 1/1 for 2 that you could tap to prevent a damage to anything. Well, this is a 0/2 for 4 that you can pay 2 and tap to prevent up to 4 damage to a creature you control. So much more specific as to what you can prevent damage from, although you prevent more and you have to pay for it. Also, the downside, that creature doesn't untap the next turn. I don't know anybody who played these seriously if they had a choice. There was always something better you could find, even back in the day. These were not good cards. But it was flavorful, and it was definitely a play off the old Samite Healer. So again, flavor-wise, continuing on with a version based off of a design from the original set. Original version of the game, basically. Powders and potions are nothing compared to faith. Barris, Serra Inquisitor. And again, these Serra Inquisitor, the Death Speaker mentioned in one of the earlier quotes, these are all cards in the set for the most part. So here's the other art for Samite Alchemist. The wisest of Asin dwell not in the abbey, but in the laboratory. There was a whole story. It comes out partially in the set. They also released a novel a little while later, which I never bothered to read, but I've heard a few elements from in the years since then. Beastwalkers. This is a hero, a 2/2 for 3, and the Dark had some creatures that had off-color abilities. This was still very rare at this time. Actually, it goes back even as far as Sedge Troll from Alpha, but this wasn't a common thing. Being a hero puts it in the line of Benelish Hero, and it also gains banding, which is a similar ability. So this is playing off of that theme from the early days. The Beastwalkers do a great service to Asin. As humans or as beasts, their heart is yet to Serra true.
So the booster box market price is $4.83
on there. That U.S. or Canadian?
Yeah, U.S. And the pack is $11.20.
That seems consistent. When I looked up, booster packs were usually going for about $15 Canadian. Okay. So anyway,
research done.
Serra Paladin. Well, I want to keep that handy, but
well, I mean, I can go back to it anytime.
This 4-cost 2/2. You can tap to prevent damage to any creature or player. So it's got the Samite Healer ability, but, you know, slightly bigger body, definitely bigger cost. I think they've changed paladin creature types to knights now. I forget. They've updated a bunch of creature types. Pay 3 and tap it. Attacking does not cause target creature to tap this turn. So you can give a creature vigilance under the current terminology is what that would be today.
We got 4 votes.
What? Would that I could be a paladin again. But the dead hold no place among their ranks. So the Eisen's Shade. So Eisen's Shade, again, yeah, used to be a Ceres paladin. Ran afoul of the Baron and his friends and ended up cursed. He was a popular card, though. Sora the Falconer. Here's our first legend. 3 cost, 2/2. All falcons get +1/+1. And you can pay 2. Target falcons gains banding until end of turn. This isn't that bad if you have a bunch of falcons in your deck. However, at the time this card was printed, there was one falcon in this set at common. And there was a falcon back in Legends called, in blue, called Zephyr Falcon, which didn't tap to attack as a 1/1 for 2. That was it. So there really weren't a lot. I think they've errated this to now work with birds in general instead of just falcons. So that does make it a little stronger. But, yeah, nobody really cares. Banding has fallen on hard times amongst a lot of players. Anyway, Sora speaks with the hunters of the air, as do all her family line, the Autumn Willow. The Autumn Willow was probably the second most famous creature in the set in terms of the big legendary creatures they put in there. They're all overpriced. Just being a big creature was enough to make a card a rare most of the time, and if it was legendary...
How many cards are in the set?
It's a relatively small set. That list I had out here had the number on it, I think. 140 cards. So yeah, here's the Death Speakers. And again, protection, strong ability. On a 1-drop, getting a 1/1 protection from black could be quite devastating if your opponent was in black primarily or entirely. Such innocent little birds. They sing a sweet song sitting on their fragile branch. Grandmother Singir. The whole Singir clan is in this. Anyway, then we've got the Abbey Matrons. 2 copies, because it's common. Definitely rather imperious, fanatical type art. 3 cost for a 1/3 creature. That's not as bad a rate as some of the others we've looked at so far, to be honest. And you can pay a white and tap it to give itself +0/+3 until end of turn. So on the defense, it can have up to 6 toughness, which, you know, can wall things fairly well. It's a cleric, but yeah, still not ideal, very defensive. The matrons still say Sarah is coming back. I bet she never even existed. And again, the conflict between the different religious groups in this area. Matrons are kindly souls, but don't ask one for an ale, says a dwarven trader. And we've got Sarah Bestiary. One thing this set, if you ever play it for draft or anything, you'll notice very little removal in the set. Most of the removal there is uncommon or rare, and or enchantment based. And this is an example of an enchantment based one. 2 white, enchant creature. During your upkeep, you have to pay 2 white, or this goes away. So you got to maintain it. Target creature cannot attack, block, or use any ability that includes a tap symbol in its activation cost. So that's kind of limited. There are some activated abilities you can use that don't have that, but it locks down a creature. Nowadays, if they were making a card like this, you wouldn't have an upkeep on it, and would probably
It's now 60% to open.
Be able to hit more things. Ooh. Hanzur the Abbot. Soon Sarah will return and choose the Abbot's successor, else we are lost. So the Abbot's getting up there. 2/5 for 5. So that's the same casting cost and power and toughness as the old veteran bodyguard was. And you can pay X and tap it to redirect to hand 0 the Abbot X damage dealt to any white creature you control. Veteran Bodyguard redirected damage done to you to itself, and you didn't have to pay to do it. This can save your other creatures instead, and yeah, you have to pay and activate. It's a legend. It's interesting. More playable than some of the cards, but yeah, still not great. Rashka the Slayer. This is an example of a card that, in the right situation, isn't horrible, but most of the time is very lackluster. So 5 cost gives you a 3/3 base stats.
Oh my goodness, child.
It can block creatures with flying, which is nice. Being an archer, makes sense. If assigned to block any black creatures, Rashka the Slayer gets +1/+2 until end of turn. So if you're fighting a black creature, you're getting a 4/5 that can block flyers instead of just the 3/3. In those cases, that was decent stats for a 5-cost creature at the time. But under normal circumstances where it's just a 3/3, not so good. Basically, you could get 3/3s for 4 mana most of the time. Rarely be the prey so haughty as to hunt the hunter, Baron Sengir, who's a 5/5 black creature, by the way. So even at its best, Rashka the Slayer is still not strong enough on its base, on its just self, to take on the Baron. And we've got the Serra Inquisitors. If assigned to block any black creatures, or any black creatures are assigned to block it, Serra Inquisitors gets +2 attack until end of turn. And that's again a 5-cost 3/3. But against black, it's a 5/3. Black creatures. That's a bit better, but still not wonderful.
Lucas, bedtime.
Then we've got the good old Trade Caravan here. And these arts line up. You can put them side by side, and it forms one wider picture of the caravan moving there. 1/1 for 1. During your upkeep, put a currency counter on Trade Caravan, and you can remove 2 currency counters from Trade Caravan to untap target basic land. Use this ability only during any opponent's
Bedtime, I just woke
upkeep.
up. It's Lucas's bedtime, not yours, Burley.
Right. So, yeah, no flavor text, but 2 arts that go together to make a wider picture for that one. And there was Acacian Money Changers. So there was another sort of card that used counters to emulate currency in a set not too far before this. Here are the Falcons that go with Sora the Falconer. Meza Falcon.
Hey Ryan, how are you doing tonight?
So 1/1 flying for 1, and you can pay 2 to give it +1 defense until end of turn. Repeatedly if you've got lots of mana around.
Oh, wait. I know it's Pokemon mostly my emojis I made, but members, go check out the new emojis.
Okay.
I made them myself.
Pretty Falcon, friend to Sora, will you send her my greetings? From the Willow Priestess. And Meza Falcon flying out there and almost looks Arizona-ish terrain. Faith of Sarah is born on wings of hope. The Asin Highway. This was an interesting one. Up until this time, there'd only been one...
Ryan's like, question mark. Poor Ryan's not a member. You can't see them. Somebody show Ryan the emojis.
Anyway, Asin Highway was only the second card that made that gives Planeswalk.
It shows question mark on mine.
Sorry. And, yeah, it's a bit confusing now because Planeswalkers were a different type of plane, not the basic land planes, and that was a story element, which later became a card type. But this is talking specifically about land walk for basic planes, basically. And, yeah, all creatures gain Planeswalk. In the right game, can be backbreaking. You just play this and all your creatures become unblockable. But a bit of a double-edged sword because you're obviously playing white if you're playing this card, so you can't block their stuff either. Tread the roads of righteousness, Marat, lest you lose your way and be consumed. Then we've got a truce. This is sort of a political card, which they really didn't do a lot of it this time, and it's not great by any means. But 3 mana instant, each player may draw up to 2 cards. For each card less than 2 any player draws, that player gains 2 life. So you can draw 2 cards, you can draw a card and gain 2 life, or you can gain 4 life, whichever you prefer, and so can everyone else at the table. If you're trying to make friends with everybody, this could be a fun card to play in a multiplayer game, but yeah, I don't know many people who actually play this. The people of Assen feed us, and we don't kill them. That's my kind of truce. Aeron the Relentless.
Ooh, I like the next art.
Yeah, the next one's nice. This one I actually tried playing with a couple times. Sarah Avery. Or Aviary, sorry. So, 4 cost is a little expensive, unfortunately. It is an enchant world, which is another set of rules. It's even beyond legendary. Legendary, you can only have 1 copy of that card in play. Any player at the time could only have 1 copy. Enchant World, there can only be 1 Enchant World of any name in play. So if someone else was playing a different Enchant World, you could play this to get rid of it. Someone else could play a different Enchant World to get rid of this. All creatures with flying get +1/+1. White had some flyers, like Sarah Angel, like the Abbey Gargoyles, and like the Mesa Falcons and such that we just saw, but not tons. But this did make them better. So if you had more flyers than your opponent, it could be effective, but yeah, it just generally wasn't great, and it's not one-sided because it works on your opponent's flyers as well. Leeches, as far as I know, I mean, there's probably just tricks to manipulate counters now to get rid of poison counters, but Leeches was the only card they had for a long time that could get rid of poison counters. Poison counters were introduced in the Legends expansion, the 3rd expansion. So target player loses all poison counters. Leeches deals 1 damage to that player for each poison counter removed this way. You know, it's still... Nowadays, when they make cards that do things, there's rarely drawbacks. Drawbacks were very common in this era. Where our potions and powders fail, perhaps nature will succeed. Then we've got the Assen Crusader. This is another tie-in to Benelish Hero. 2 white for a 2/2+ star on both. Assen Crusader has power and toughness, each equal to 2 plus the number of heroes you control. So in this set, we already saw the only hero in the set, the Beastwalkers. Benelish heroes were also heroes, and they were a 1-drop with banding. So you would run those. You'd probably run the Keljoran Warrior, I think was a hero as well. You'd run Beastwalkers and these and try and, really get that going. But yeah, it was tricky. A renegade rallying the rabble does not a true crusader make. A rainy Singir. And then Prophecy.
My name is threatening to...
Reveal the top card of target opponent's library to all players. If it is a land, gain a life. That opponent then shuffles his or her library. Draw a card at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. So it's a 1 white cantrip that replaces itself. It might gain you a life. It gives you a very brief glimpse at a card from their deck, which then gets shuffled back in. So if they had manipulated the top of their deck and you have time to play a sorcery, there's some very niche cases where that might be useful. Generally not. And then here's the white shard land, or whatever they call it, for Homelands. They were still experimenting with lands that could give you multiple colors. These ones are bad. I mean, it's not the worst card out there. You can still tap it for a colorless mana. It doesn't enter play tapped. But in terms of mana fixing, you have to pay 1 and tap it to get white. So it puts you back a mana availability. Or 2 and tap it to get either blue or green. That is harsh. And these... I knew 1 or 2 people who experimented with them, but they're not good. Nobody found them to be good, just because to actually get the color fixing it sets you back so much in what lands you might have available. Now, if you didn't have anything but basic lands, because at this time, what else could you get? City of Brass was around, but it was a rare from Arabian Nights. Ice Age had some rare pain lands, and the original dual lands were all rares as well. So this might be easier to get than some of those other options. But yeah, if you have other options, they were all better, basically. Even arguably the slow lands from Ice Age might be better than these. Sarah's gift to her people, a symbol of faith and hope. I mean, it's nice looking. It's a nice idea, but not a great land.
If Dragon Fang Dan ever shows up, I'll show you his emoji we made for him too.
Yeah.
Oh,
speaking of non-basic lands, here's Primal Order. This thing can really catch people off guard. During each player's upkeep, Primal Order deals 1 damage to that player for each non-basic land he or she controls. Some people now in their commander decks don't run many basic lands. So all their lands will be non-basic lands virtually. During each upkeep, taking 1 damage for each land virtually that they control, that can be pretty brutal pretty quick. There's probably quicker ways to deal with people now, and this will just annoy the whole table, probably. But in a monocolored deck, if you're just running a lot of basic forests, this could be a nasty little surprise.
Broly likes our Duck Duck Goose emoji.
Unfortunately, because it's an emoji and so small, you can't really see it very well, can you?
No, not on here anyways. It's harder to see.
We'd need a way to get it to splash up on the screen big, but that would get super annoying.
Yeah.
Next, we have the Hungry Mist. 2 different arts. This one is a little more freaky. This one, I think, is a little bit more to the environment. I kind of like that. If the air must feed, let it take the self-righteous. And this one says, all things must eat after all. Even the air can hunger. So, Hungry Mist, a 6/2 for 4. That is pretty aggressive. Green could get a Crawworm as a 6/4 for 6 with no downside. But this does have the upkeep of pay 2 green or it dies. So, you got to pay to keep it around. Odds are, with only 2 toughness, it'll die the first combat it gets into anyway. But it does have a lot of damage output potential. So, I know people who did experiment with those a little bit. The Folk of Anhava. These almost remind me of hobbits. Summon Folk of Anhava, rustic townfolk. Here's some people dancing. This town's only for good folk. The rest can go to the city. That's from the Anhava Constable. And if assigned as a blocker, Folk of Anhava gets +2 attack until end of turn. So, on the defense, it could take out bigger creatures, potentially.
Have you ever done pack battles
I do kind of like the Shepherd
with
art.
Homelands versus Fallen Empire?
I have not, although I've thought of the idea. There are those who accept being told what to do, what to think, and what to say. Then there are the Folk of Anhava. So again, the rustics tend to want to figure things out for themselves.
I think of a few groups like that.
There we are. And we got Spectral Bears. This is interesting because Grizzly Bear was a common right from the start.
Oh, that's really cool. Okay.
This is an uncommon. So we got some Ghost Bears here. And Grizzly Bear was a 2/2 for 2. Same casting cost. This is a 3/3. If Spectral Bears is declared as an attacker and defending player controls no black cards, it doesn't untap on your next untap phase, so it'll take 2 turns to untap. That's a decent drawback, honestly. But if your opponent is playing black, you're basically just straight up getting your 3/3 for 2, which is above rate. And if you don't attack with it, then
as
that's
a
not
bet.
going to end up being a downside anyway. So I did see some play occasionally. People were trying these out for a while.
Put on Ben and Holly's Kingdom. That one might be one that's kind of chilly, like for her to calm down.
I hear the bears or spirits that guard the caravans passing through the forest.
And close the door.
Next, we've got Carapace. These I used to see play with. I used to play a black-green deck.
Yeah.
There's 2 different arts.
I like that one better.
Okay.
The other one's creepy.
And it's an enchant creature. It gives +0/+2, so you get +2 defense.
The lighting is really hard.
Yeah, there we go. And you can sacrifice it to regenerate the creature it enchants. So it takes 2 more damage to take out the creature, and if they do manage to take it out, you can just sacrifice this to regenerate. This was sort of the opposite of Rancor to me.
I use that
early
card,
on.
says Ryan.
Yep. It's not a bad card at all. It can save your creature's butt. I used to use it in my green-black deck to protect my Royal Assassins, which people tended to like to kill because they killed all the other creatures. So this would help me keep them alive. And yeah, I found them quite useful. If you don't mind running creature enchantments, they've fallen out of favor generally, but these ones you could usually get your value out of, just because it would save the creature from dying. Most creature enchantments, if the creature dies, you've just lost 2 cards. This one, you get to keep your creature, and you just lost the 1-cost enchantment. Not a huge investment, anyway. The tougher to crack, the sweeter the snack, said the sea troll. And now that's a fashion statement, said the fairy noble. Then we've got a leaping lizard. 2/3 for 3 is actually a decent raid creature at the time. That's the same as a Hurloon Minotaur, which didn't have any abilities. But this, you can pay 2 mana, including a green, to give it flying and -1 defense until end of turn. So it can become a 2/2 flyer if you pay 2 until end of turn, if you pay 2. So in the right circumstances, that can block something important, or that can get over an opposing blocker and get in some damage. That's not a bad ability as a bonus on a creature that's already decent rate for the time. Like I said, 2/3 for 3 was reasonable body at the time. Never question the Autumn Willow about her motives, not even when she turns people into lizards. It's her way. Next up, we got the Badger. Badger, yeah. Very dark for a green card at the time, generally speaking. But 2/2 for 3. And if the Badger attacks and isn't blocked, you may choose to have it deal no damage. If you do so, remove from the game up to 2 creature cards from that player's graveyard. Gain 1 life for each creature removed this way. So it's gaining you life instead of dealing damage and removing cards from their graveyard, which, right from Alpha, you had cards like Raise Dead and Animate Dead and things that could bring those back. So that wasn't necessarily an unuseful ability. But it is a basic generic 2/2 body for 3, which would just tend to die if its ability was going to be relevant. So next we have Roots. Do you have Roots? This was basically as close as green got to removal in this set. 4-cost enchant creature. Tap target creature without flying. That creature does not untap as normal during its controller's untap phase. So as long as this stays in play, that creature is just not going to untap unless you've got some other way to untap it. But it can't hit flyers. That which it nourishes can also bind. And there's the poor weapons of whoever's in that bundle of roots. Speaking of roots, we got a root spider. 2/2 for 4. Now keep in mind, you're comparing this to a giant spider for the same casting cost that was 2/4 reach, basically. Could block creatures with flying. This is a 2/2 for your 4. If assigned as a blocker, root spider gets first strike and gets +1 attack until end of turn. So this is meant for defense. And it's kind of a surprise attack, except they can see it sitting there and know you're going to do that. But it is a more defensive creature in the sense that 3/2 first strike could take out a lot of things. But if you're swinging with it, it's not great. On defense, this is decent. But if you're looking to come up the board in defense, this isn't a great attacker. Now that Hungry Mist, that was a more threatening attacker for 4. But again, it had an upkeep. They're not half as fierce if they don't see you coming. Right. Next, we have Joven's Ferrets.
Ferrets!
Yeah, I always loved the ferrets. They're mischievous little,
I miss having
little
ferrets.
critters. And this card is mischievous in its way, too. It's only a 1/1 for 1.
They would destroy the kids' stuff if we had ferrets now.
They would. If declared as an attacker, Joven's Ferrets gets +2 defense, so it's harder to kill when it's attacking until end of turn. At end of combat, tap any creatures that block Joven's Ferrets. Those creatures don't untap on their controller's next untap phase. So basically, any creature that blocks this is going to spend an extra turn trying to get itself unlost from the chasing these things around, basically. They'll tucker things right out, which is interesting and a nice little ability. These I did see people play quite a number of times. Amy Weber is a well-known artist in the early days of Magic as well. So is Dan Fraser. And this was one that I used to run and have a constable. 3 cost for a 2-star +1. And have a constable has toughness equal to 1 plus the total number of green creatures in play, which of course will count itself. So it starts out as a 2/2. And then, depending how many creatures you have in play, it could get quite tough in terms of its defense stat. Also, I found a lot of similarities between the art in this and Scars of the Veteran. So sometimes I used to like to run those together for extra toughness effect. Juskin and the other constables serve with passion, if not with grace. Then we have Renewal. There's sort of a blast from the past. Pay 3, sacrifice a land to search your library for a basic land and put it directly into play. This does not count towards your 1 land per turn limit. Reshuffle your library afterwards, draw a card at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. So you get to draw another card, you get to replace a land. If you're playing Landfall, if you're doing tricks with needing lands in your graveyard, this could be useful, but it's pretty niche. It's really, you got to have the right type of deck to even consider running a card like this. Then we've got Mammoth Harness. This can also encumber a creature, doesn't really remove it. Target creature loses flying, carrying all that extra weight from the Mammoth Harness. If any creature is assigned to block the creature Mammoth Harness is enchants, or has creature Mammoth Harness enchants assigned to block it, so if anything it fights in combat basically, that creature gains first strike until end of turn. So it loses flying, and anything that fights it gets first strike. So it just slows the creature right down. It's not great for a 4 mana enchantment. You can usually find more effective things to do. And have it in. Again, this is another one of those cards that makes me think this set was inspired by hobbits and things quite a bit, because this reminds me of the last Homely House. Or the Inn at Bree, perhaps. 2 green and 1, so it costs 3. Gain 1 plus star life, where star is equal to the total number of green creatures in play. So again, if you've got a lot of green creatures in play, and token creatures were not that common at this time. The only real token engines that I can remember existing at this time, really, unless you were playing a heavy Thallid deck, which is a bunch of little not effective generators, would be something like Breeding Pit for black, or the Hive for artifacts, or there was another one I was thinking of. Goblin Warrens for red. So the inn was ever a steady source of good cheer and kindness. Greatly do I miss it now that I am gone. And again, Eisen's shade. The Willow Fairy. So there are two different arts for this again. Basically, you had scribe sprites in Alpha through 4th edition at the time, which was a 1/1 flying for 1 green. This is a 1/2 flying for 2. Generally speaking, you're better with Scribe Sprite, but if you needed more small flyers to make your strategy work, this was a way to get some more. Swift as the wind and harder to catch. That's the fairies for you. And that's the first artwork. End quote. And here's the other, which is a little bit more playful. I like the deer in this picture. That
art is nice.
You get your 1/2 for 2. The autumn willow cannot be everywhere at once. That's what her grandchildren are for. Then you've got Shrink. So this was about what you'd get for a combat trick in Homelands. So 1 green, target creature gets -5 attack until end of turn. So all of a sudden that threatening creature that attacked you isn't so threatening. And if you're blocking it with a bunch of things, you might be able to take it out without it even killing anything. But yeah, you need to... If you don't have any creatures, it can still save you some damage. So it's not useless, but it's pretty situational. If you're going to... You can use it to swing a combat if you've got some bodies on the board. I'll put it that way. Do not fear adversity. Let your courage be your strength. And here's the other art showing, basically the other side. This one's showing, I've been shrunk, and this is, look at that, my opponent's been shrunk. So, the smallest beast can yet have the greatest heart. That's the flavor text on that one. Then we're into Daughter of Autumn. So this one is a 2/4 for 4, and you can pay white to redirect to Daughter of Autumn. One damage dealt to any white creature. So it can protect your white creatures. Not a useless ability, and 2/4 for 4 is not a horrible size at the time. Wasn't that popular though, because again, having off-color activated ability can be awkward. Those who say Sarah is dead have never met the Autumn Willow's daughters. They are as kind and as generous as Sarah would wish us to be. And Autumn Willow herself was one of the chase cards of the set at the time it released. Nowadays, probably not worth much at all. But a 4/4 for 6 was always a little bit small, but still a big enough body to be relevant. But in terms of the cost, not very cost efficient is what I meant by a little small. Anyways, cannot be the target of spells or effects.
It's fun card, says Ryan. It's fun card. Is a fun card?
Can be.
It's fun card.
The Autumn Willow basically protects itself very well. Spot removal, targeted removal spells, it's immune from. You can put enchantments on it yourself to make it bigger because of its other ability, which is target player may target Autumn Willow with spells or ability or effects until end of turn. We must shake her limbs and rattle her brains. Grandmother Singier, very, very frustrated with the Autumn Willow there. But yeah, it's handy because again, that sort of shroud ability is strong to protect your creature, and the ability to turn it off for yourself so that you can buff the creature or regenerate the creature or do whatever you need to do, very handy as well. Weren't a lot of creatures like this at all. There still aren't a lot, but there have been more, and there are more that are more cost-effective now, too. Then we've got the Fairy Noble to go with those Willow Fairies we saw earlier. 3 cost, 1/2 flying. All fairies you control get +0/+1, so an extra toughness. And you can tap it. All fairies you control get +1 attack until end of turn. It's, yeah. I mean, if you're playing a lot of fairies, why not? But only in that case, basically. Fairies talk all in riddles and tricky bits, except the nobles. Now there's some straight talkers. And then we've got the Willow Priestess. This one was also frustrating against certain opponents. 2/2 for 4. You can tap it and take a fairy from your hand and put it directly into play as though it were just summoned. Now, fairies used to be green. Nowadays, fairies tend to be blue-black most often. And so, this can be a little color breaking, and it can let you put things into play now that were never thought of at the time. And there are some fairies that are bigger than the fairies used to be as well. And you can also pay 3. Target green creature gains protection from black until end of turn. So it can protect itself from black things using that ability. And, yeah, just generally be troublesome against a black opponent. That was the more common use of this card when it first came out. But nowadays, just being able to tap it to put fairies into play without having any mana requirements and stuff, that's probably the trickier use for it these days. Still not a great card, but fun and probably unexpected and forgotten by a lot of people now. Then we've got the Anhava Township.
There's Founder showing off her emoji again.
Ah, yes. Those of faith are those of strength. That was the comment on that one. And this one, folk of good heart will always find a home. And that's the Anhava Township, and that's the one that only costs 1 for green, but can give you white or red for 2. Again, the fact that these can just tap for colorless makes them not completely useless.
Is there one you're missing or something?
No, this was my green section, and then I just threw the green land in there. So that was how I organized my very first Magic set. And I haven't gone through and reorganized it since, so that's how it is. Annaba Bodyguard. So this was frustrating for me as a child for a number of reasons. But there's 2 different arts.
I think I like the second one better.
I think I like the second one better as well.
The face just in the one side completely just doesn't look like it fits, and or like.
Well, this is, peaceful Minotaur just being there to intimidate as a bodyguard. This is Minotaur in action, which generally looks better in my opinion.
The art wise, this person like being right there, it just doesn't look nice. It just kind of.
Oh, he's a bodyguard. He's got to have someone to protect. I
think that's the idea. They could have made the color similar to.
Well, I suppose. Anyway.
That's my criticism of the art, that's all.
Herloon Minotaur, which was the previous famous Minotaur from the base set, was a 2/3 for 2 red and 1, so for 3 mana. This costs you 4. It gives you a 2/3. The upside for the extra mana is First Strike, which is a decent ability, helps in combat, but this was still a 4 mana creature that could be lightning bolted, and it wasn't horrible. I mean, the First Strike is certainly relevant, but it'll lose to a Hill Giant on its own. It will take care quite nicely of pesky white and black knights, which is nice. And look at the name, Annaba Bodyguard. Annaba was sort of the clan of Minotaurs in this set. Look at the picture, clearly a Minotaur. And look at the flavor text. Not all Minotaurs are tribal. Some are freelance. Yeah. This is frustrating beyond end if you're trying to build a Minotaur deck. And it's, honestly, you would think that they realized it with the flavor text, because tribal is the word that Magic uses for building a deck that's based around a creature type, whether it's fairies, whether it's soldiers, whether it's Minotaurs. And this Minotaur is a bodyguard, not a Minotaur, or at least was at the time. They've probably errated this to actually count as a Minotaur now, I expect. I think he got a reprint in like 6th edition or something as well. But yeah.
I had to throw that in chat just because I'm
Right.
excited.
Not someone to pick a fight with unless you're fond of pain. Yeah. But yeah, very frustrating as far as Minotaurs go because it didn't count as a Minotaur. But, really not a horrible one, but definitely lackluster by today's standards anyway. This one was always lackluster in its stats, although strategically you could pull off some shenanigans with it. Ambush Party, a 3/1 first strike for 5. That was the problem. For 5, you're usually hoping for a 4/4 or better creature, not a 3/1. Ambush Party can attack the turn it comes into play on your side, so it's got haste and first strike. So yeah, this would almost be better if it had flash instead of haste, because you could use it defensively. But if your opponent's not expecting an attack, you can come down and attack, and it can be tricky to block with first strike. But I tell you, it's a frustrating creature. I did know people who played these, but not a lot. Call it a cost of doing business. The best way to protect against thieves is to hire better thieves. That was Aeron the Relentless. And on this version, which shows them in the mountains, you've got the roads to Crusham Keep are mostly safe these days. Mostly.
Oh, it's because for some reason I didn't press play when I was watching the video.
Then we've got the Dwarven Pony. So this is another sort of the Hobbit
I like it.
themed card in my mind, because there are a fair number of dwarf references in this set as well.
So I think they'll bring this one out, but they'll change it like to Bob the Pony or whatever it is.
Oh, who knows? I kind of doubt it.
Was it Bob or something else? The name of the pony?
Bill.
Bill.
Okay, but that was in the Lord of the Rings.
I know.
In the Hobbit, the dwarves did have their own ponies for their journey as well. So 1 white, 1/1, and you can pay 2 and tap it. Target dwarf gains Mountain Walk until end of turn. It's a pony. It costs 1 for a 1/1. That's not horrible. It has another ability, but the ability is only useful to dwarfs and only gives them Mountain Walk, which can be situationally useful, but you're talking about a narrow ability on an already narrow creature type. Yeah. It's basically just a 1/1 for 1, 99+% of the time. I hear Helena's got a pony that can count to 6 and likes to eat meat. Strange horse. Then we've got Winter Sky. I always liked the art on this card for some reason. The effect is not great. 1 red, flip a coin. Target opponent calls heads or tails while the coin is in the air. If the flip ends up in your favor, Winter Sky deals 1 damage to each creature and player. Otherwise, each player draws a card. I mean, those are 2 effects that could be interesting for 1 mana. But the fact that it's random and you have no idea which one you're going to get makes this card frustrating. When you need to do damage to creatures, you probably won't. And if it comes to the card draw, it's just political. Both players or each player drawing a card. So, I mean, I could see it for decks that like playing card. Politics.
That reminds me of like when they're going over the mountains in the movie.
Yeah, kind of. Ambush. All blocking creatures gain first strike until end of turn. Again, combat trick, but a 4-cost instant. Usually, you could find better things to do with a 4-cost spell sitting in your hand, waiting to be able to use this at a good time. Don't these goons have anything better to do? Now, this one I like.
The art's nice.
Anziran Ruins.
It's a little weird, but
it is a little weird. But there are so many tribal decks out there now, and this could just shut so many of them down. 4-cost enchantment, no upkeep, just choose a creature type, Creatures of the chosen type do not untap during their controller's untap phase. So, if you can tap them down with an icy, they just won't untap. If you can, if they're just attacking, if they had already attacked, you just drop this on the table, and their creatures are going to be stuck there, not able to do anything for a long time until they get rid of this. The Anziran have served me well ever since I first killed them. There's the Baron for you. But yeah, if your opponent likes playing a Sliver deck or a Merfolk deck or whatever tribal deck, this can be particularly troublesome. Even if they don't, sometimes it's handy to just drop, oh, you got to attack me with that dragon. Well, I don't want you to do that again. So, your dragon's not untapping. Even in those situations, it's not useless, usually. Orcish Mine. This was this set's version of land destruction. Again, land destruction used to be a lot more common than it is now. An enchant land for 3. When Orcish Mine comes into play, put 3 ore counters on it. During your upkeep, or whenever the land is tapped, remove an ore counter from Orcish Mine. When the last ore counter is removed from Orcish Mine, destroy the land it enchants, and Orcish Mine deals 2 damage to that land's controller. So you're getting a little extra damage out of this, but it's delayed. And how much it's delayed will depend on whether they use the land or not, basically. And yeah, they still get a couple of uses out of it. So it's not great unless you're already putting pressure on their mana base, which some decks can certainly do. I remember it getting thrown into some decks. Now we're starting to get into the Minotaur-themed cards. And oh man, when I was younger, I wanted to build a Minotaur-themed deck. And I never quite got there. I just never got the critical mass of stuff you needed, because this is one of the rare type cards, of course. The Anubis Spirit Crafter. 4 cost for a 1/3. All Minotaurs get +1/+0. So it gives itself that, because this one does count as a Minotaur, unlike the other. So you're getting a 2/3 for 4, though, which is still below curve. But it's one that buffs the attack of all your creatures if you're playing Minotaurs, or all your Minotaurs, at least. So that's is something which is a useful effect if you can put together enough worthwhile Minotaurs that don't all cost 3 and 4. You got a major mana curve problem there then. So this is one of the problems with the Minotaur deck in the early days. I'm sure there are enough options to make it more playable now, if I ever get around to hunting them down. But I do like the art on this one and the look of it. The Spirit Crafters sing of all our people. They sing of those lost, of those found, and of those who are yet to be.
That sounds an awful lot like the line from the movie when Galadriel's talking about the mirror when she's showing the...
Excluding the first sentence, maybe.
Well, I only heard the last part of it, so...
Okay.
You can understand how I got there.
Then we've got an Annabelle Ancestor.
No.
Another frustrating Minotaur that doesn't count as a Minotaur, because it counts as a ghost instead. It costs 2, and you can tap it. Target Minotaur gets +1/+1 until end of turn, which, could be a nice little bonus. But generally, you'd rather run a Wily Wolf or something else instead. The Ancestors are the wisdom of the tribe and the soul of the homelands. I am eternally in their debt. Again, the fun is there, the flavor is there, the art is there. There's a lot of cards that look like, you could do something with for Minotaurs. But so many of them, it just doesn't work in this set. Evaporate deals 1 damage to each blue creature and white creature. So there's sort of a double color hoser, except it's only 1 damage, so it's not really good most of the time. For 3, the body is a temple with a foundation of sand. Next, we get into the legendary thief cards in red. So we've got Chandler. Chandler's a 3/3 for 5. You can pay 3 red and tap it to destroy target artifact creature. Useful at times, but not great just as a body.
Oh my goodness.
I'm having
I'm
trouble
so
with the lighting
tired.
again. Never brag about the latest wonder you've created, students. Chandler might be listening.
Mm.
And the wizards had a part in the story of this for sure, to deal with the thieves and with the other factions.
When you picked up this booster box, how much did you pay for it?
I don't remember, probably at the time its value had gone down because there's no cards in it that were worth probably more than $2.
Oh, okay.
But now it's 15 years later, so the prices have started to come up. I probably paid about $60 or something for it at the time.
Oh wow.
Maybe more than that. Maybe closer to 100. Maybe it was still worth
I don't
something like
think
that.
anybody would pay the current
But-
value of a sealed booster box for that thing.
No, I mean it's more a novelty than anything now.
Yeah.
There really still isn't a lot of cards that are worth much. There's not a lot that have ever been used in tournaments. There are a couple, and I think we're going to get to a couple of them here in blue, but one at least. But Aaron the Relentless. This was when I was liked. I was meaning to grab. I have a box downstairs that I had decorated from back in the day, and it had a picture of Aaron the Relentless on it. 5 cost for a 5/2, and it can attack on the turn it comes into play on your side. So haste. This could catch someone by surprise, potentially. Like I said, normally for your 5 cost at this time, you would get a 4/4 creature or thereabouts. This isn't quite that. 5/2, though, that can attack, can take someone by surprise, and paying 3 to regenerate it meant that its lowly 2 toughness wasn't as big a problem. If you had the extra mana, you could keep it alive, and it could win fights. Pretty narrow, pretty unlikely to happen on the turn you play it, but it could happen later. Aaron would be much less of a hassle if only he were mortal. And that's, yeah, there's the regeneration. And this is a bit of a throwback to the card The Brute, which gave regenerating in red, but yeah, for a similar, well, the same mana cost. And then Joven, the last of the 3 thieves. 5 for a 3/3 again, just like Chandler. Destroy, pay 3 red and tap him to destroy a non-creature artifact. So between him and Chandler, you could take care of creature or non-creature artifacts. Joven, you're almost as good as a thief as I, but Aaron hates you even more. And again, there's some backstory there. I'm trying to read the sign in the background there. House of Sin. Yeah. So there you go. Retribution. My brother used to use these. They were annoying. 4 cost sorcery. Choose 2 target creatures controlled by an opponent. Bury one of those creatures. Put a -1/-1 counter on the other. That opponent chooses which creature is buried. So, depending on the sizes of the creatures, sometimes it didn't make much difference. But generally speaking, your smaller creature died and your bigger creature got shrunk. Yeah, this was annoying, but it's a 4 cost removal spell that gives your opponent the choice. Ultimately, is not really great, but it's one of the better removal options probably in this set, sadly. Then we've got a night scene and a day scene for Aliban's Tower. An instant combat trick. Target blocking creature, so only good on blocking, gets +3 attack and +1 defense until end of turn. Those who hide in hollow towers would do well to remember the rain.
I like the second art.
And the second art there. The people of Aeson built their roads with stones from these wonders. Aliban would be pleased with their ingenuity.
I mean, this art's nice, but I just like how they have the tower that kind of makes it stand out and light up a little bit.
Right. These are there as an instant defensive structure to help, your creature win the battle.
Hold on a second.
Which?
That reminds me of Shazam, kind of, but not, because he's not the same. It's just if you take a quick look, it looked at like...
Well, there's some similarities there, I could see.
That's because I just saw it as you were turning it, and so it made me look at that.
Now, of all the Minotaurs in this set, the one I played the most was the Anubis Shaman. Because I liked Prodigal Sorcerer, and this is a similar effect. Although, it is more expensive. You're paying 4 instead of 3 for a 1. This is 4 for a 2/2. Does have a bigger body if you're just going to swing with it, which sometimes you ended up doing if it was just an open board. But it can still tap to deal 1 damage to target creature or player. Very useful ability, very handy to finish off threats, but you have to pay a red to do it. So the extra mana was certainly a factor. Few master the powers of the earth as well as do the shamans of the Minotaurs. And this is another one of those that you can put the two arts together, and you can see how the lightning and that line there line up to make a bigger image between the two Anubis Shamans. I do think this one, the art of the Minotaur itself, looks better, but that one's sort of crafting the lightning or the light beam or whatever a bit nicer. So, the Shamans, they are mere craven cows, not capable of true magic, says Irene. But yeah, I used to run these sometimes. Then we've got a Dwarven Trader. Back to the dwarves. In fact, we have 2 Dwarven Trader arts, but we'll look at this one first. They wouldn't sell their own. They wouldn't sell their own families, at least not for cheap. And it's just a 1/1 dwarf for 1. Pretty unoriginal, to be honest. It's talk about basic. But there weren't a lot of dwarfs available, so if you made a dwarf deck from Fallen Empires, this was a 1-drop for you. Their definition of fair profit is certainly novel. And again, with these, looking at the borders.
The next art is nice, the boat one.
This is another one which I think is designed to be able to be sort of combined, but yeah, the Dwarven, here's the other dwarf card. Dwarven Sea Clan. Very unusual in its way. 3 cost 1/1, so, more in line with Prodigal Sorcerer if you're looking for Tim effects.
I like this art.
And you can tap it at end of combat. Dwarven Sea Clan deals 2 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. Use this ability only if that creature's controller controls any islands. This is, Red has less ways to ensure your opponent has islands, and its effect is related to only creatures that we're attacking or blocking. So it's pretty narrow, but being able to tap for 2 damage is a decent effect. Nor dwarf alive can best one of my crew dead. So there we are. And it looks like boats, which a lot of other cards up till now, which looked like boats, were ships. This is a dwarf.
What?
So go figure.
That's a dwarf?
Yeah.
Is it because
it's
a
Dwarven Sea Clan. So yeah.
Okay.
Apparently.
Got it.
Yeah. The Ironclaw Curse is a playoff of the Ironclaw Orcs from Alpha, basically. They were still kicking around. Interestingly, if you played the game, what was it called? There was a computer game. Anyways, the Ironclaw Orcs, for some reason, that game were more expensive than rares. Interestingly, since it's a common with a downside. Anyway, 1 red, target creature gets -1 defense. That creature cannot be assigned to block any creature with power greater than or equal to the toughness of the creature Ironclaw Curse enchants. Yeah, so it hobbles the creature a little. On a weak creature, it might just kill it, and it restricts what it can block. It's not wonderful, but it could remove small creatures. And then we've got Heartwolf. This was the last card I tracked down to complete the set for myself. It's a wolf, 2/2 for 4. It's got first strike, so that's relevant.
They kind of look like.
And again, it works with dwarves. Apparently, in this world, it's the dwarves, not the orcs, that ride the wolves.
And a wolf. Or is that its paw?
That's its paw.
It's really okay. It's really, really not the best art.
There you go. You can tap at target dwarf, gains first strike, and gets +2 attack until end of turn. If that dwarf leaves play, bury Heartwolf. Uses ability only when attack or defense is announced. So, yeah, it can buff your dwarves. But it's not a dwarf. It's interesting. If I was going to make a dwarf back then, I might try playing with it, but there really weren't a lot of dwarves. It'd be a stretch to get any sort of dwarf theme going, to be honest.
Oh, man.
And we've got Kushum Keep, Treachery, and Anarchy make poor partners. This is the red-based one of these lands. Not much else to say about it. We've already talked about how they're not great.
Blue.
Yes, blue Minotaurs is what we started with. So we've got the Labyrinth Minotaur. The Heirloom Minotaur was famous for its facial tattoos. And this is another great example of a Minotaur with a facial tattoo. I do like this second one here, the art, better.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I like this one.
The first one's nice too. It's 4 cost for a 1/4, so it's got a bit more of a survivable body. Creatures, Labyrinth Minotaur is assigned to block, do not untap during their controller's next untap phase. So again, it slows down anything that it fights, which is a
what do you guys think? Which one do you like?
Ability as well.
This one, number 1 or number 2? Yeah. They're both neat, but I think I like this one a little bit, number 1 a little bit more.
Yeah, I could understand that. But I know back in the day, at least, I always preferred the second.
I don't know.
Anyway, the flavor text on the first is, I doubt any Labyrinth Minotaurs still live. But then again, we Minotaurs are stubborn beings. And the other one, legend says they got a treasure cave, but it don't say where to find it. Then we've got Giant Albatross.
I like that one.
It's kind of fun. It's kind of annoying. And again, there's 2 arts. So you've got just the bird flying with its little saddle there.
They're both nice.
And then you've got the other bigger one near the masts of the ship. This reminds me of the Rime of the Ancient Mariner, which I studied in high school. So I kind of like it for that. Okay, but you know what?
That art is really bad. Is that...
Interestingly...
Is it supposed to be in front of the mast of the ship or behind?
Behind.
Okay, then it shouldn't be that big.
It is a giant albatross.
Okay, so it's bigger than the ships?
Apparently. But it's still not a very big creature because it's only a 1/1 for 2.
Okay, the art looks
weird. It flies. And you can pay 2, bury all creatures that damage Giant Albatross this turn. The controllers of any of those creatures may pay 2 life to prevent the creatures from being buried. Use this ability only when Giant Albatross is put into the graveyard from play. So, yeah. You can pay mana to make them pay life or their creature dies, basically, if their creature kills this. Which is interesting. as a little bonus ability on your 1/1 flyer for 2. Which 1/1 flyer for 2 was, what you expected for a 1/1 flyer most of the time at this point in the game's history. So I did see these used occasionally. Yeah. There were 3 cards, I think, from Alpha that had flavor text quotes from the Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner as well. So you could consider that another reference in this set. Now, the Marjan. Big, really big sea creatures. This is an 8/8 for 7. Were a running theme in a lot of the early sets. Especially the expansions. So Arabian Nights had the island fish Jaconius. I forget exactly how it's pronounced, but yeah, that was a 6/8 for 7, which you had an upkeep to pay. The Dark then outdid that and brought out Leviathan, which was a 10/10 Trampler. Was it 8 as well, or was it 9? Something like that, but you had to sacrifice islands to attack with it or untap it, so it was a little harsher. And then Ice Age, which came out just before this, had Polar Kraken, which was an 11/11 Trampler with cumulative upkeep, sacrifice of land for 11. So this just sort of continues that theme, but it's not breaking records at this point for size. But it does have more manageable downside than some of those other ones did. So you're getting an 8/8 for your 7. Does not untap during your untap step. It cannot attack if the defending player controls no islands. If at any time you control no islands, it's dead. And you can pay 2 to sacrifice a creature to untap Marjan. Use this ability only during your upkeep. So yeah, sacrifice a creature to untap it is a bit of a pain. And you can also pay 2 and give it -1 attack until end of turn to deal 1 damage to target attacking creature without flying. So, if you want it to just sit there, or even if it's tapped and not particularly useful, you can pay your 2 blue and whittle off the attack of your opponent's creatures, and it can be useful for swinging combats in that way.
Well, the next art is nice.
I always like this next card. It's not good, unfortunately.
I like the art, though.
The effect sounds good at first, but then it's just got an escape clause that's way too easy. There's a bit of a debris on or in this. Anyway. So 4 for an enchantment. No summon spells may be cast.
I really like
summon spells. That's creature spells. That's just the old way they were formatted. See, summon, whatever. So yeah, can't play creatures as long as this is in play. Problem is, any player may pay 4 life to bury this. So usually this was just pay 4. Your opponent will pay 4 life when they feel the need to start playing creatures again. I mean, it's not nothing, but it's not as effective as one hopes, generally speaking. I do love the rain, but this storm feels somehow wrong. Wrong. Tarsier, yeah, he's talking to 2 wizards talking to each other, basically. Then you got Forget. Target player chooses and discards 2 cards from his or her hand. 2 cost. Sounds a little like Kim Torak, right? Except that they get to choose? Well, not quite. If that player does not have enough cards, their entire hand is discarded. The player then draws as many cards as he or she discarded this way. So this is not card advantage. This is just card cycling. And if you're using it on yourself, that's not great either. Yeah, I don't remember this. I mean, there are neat tricks you can do with it if you're trying to get cards to reanimate into your graveyard, stuff like that. Or if you're really worried about a card that you happen to know or suspect might be in your opponent's hand, this can cause them to shuffle it away sometimes. Mystic Decree. This was a combo piece. All creatures lose flying and island walk. So you would play this, and again, it's an enchant world, which we discussed earlier, alongside cards like Island Sanctuary or Moat, which meant that you couldn't be attacked except by creatures with flying or island walk. And this got rid of those, so it made you even safer than your card, which already was designed to make you safe. It was interesting.
That art's kind of neat.
It is kind of neat.
Ooh, the next art is cool.
Curse Revka and her coddled conjurers. Their sorcerer's school shall yet be ours. Next one, yeah, it's a legend, so it hides its creature type well, but this is also technically in the story a dwarf. Revka, Wizard Savant, and 0/1 for 4, but you can tap it to do 2 damage to target creature or player, and does not untap on your next turn. So every other turn, it can ping for 2 like a Prodigal Sorcerer, except for 2. I remember this seeing play in Tim decks on occasion. It's nice to see a sister dwarf in a position of such power, but why did it have to be one of those seafaring mule heads? Yeah, which is interesting, because in this game, you've got her as a dwarf in blue, you've got the dwarves in red, and we'll see later another character who is a legend, so it doesn't show the type dwarf, who is in black as well. So the dwarves are definitely influential in the set, although there aren't that many cards with the card type dwarf. It's almost as annoying in that sense as the Minotaurs. Next, we've got the Sea Troll.
Ooh, I like it.
I used to use this sometimes. So did Dave, my brother.
I like the waves. They did a good job on the waves.
They did. It's a 2/1 for 3, and you can pay a blue to regenerate. Use this ability only during a turn in which Sea Troll blocked a blue creature, or a blue creature blocked Sea Troll. So it can only regenerate if it's fighting blue things. That's a little bit annoying, but in the right matchup, it could be useful, for sure. I've seen those trolls devour a drowning sailor faster than his lungs could fill with water. Sort of scary. Didn't come up too often, though. This one, on the other hand, blue and red were always at each other's throats. So, here's another fairy in the set. Like I said, there weren't a lot of them. But this one's a Sea Sprite. 1/1 for a blue and a colorless. This is an uncommon, I believe, in the set. Flying and protection from red. So this could really mess up your opponent's dragons just by blocking them indefinitely. No one can catch what won't be caught. And again, fairies in blue was pretty unusual at this time. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed your chance to eat your ramen, or at least I hope you enjoyed it. Anyway, Jinx, an instant speed land manipulator. Back in Alpha, you had illusionary terrain, which was an enchantment that could change a land's type. This is an instant. Target land becomes the basic land type of your choice until end of turn. Draw a card at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. So it replaces itself the next turn, but you still get that 1 turn swing if you need, if you have creatures with island walk or whatever land walk ability, or if you need to have access to certain type of basic land for whatever reason. This actually could be useful, and I did see these played on occasion for decks that wanted to have shenanigans involving land types. Next, we've got the Reef Pirates. Zeke sails with a dead crew, not out of villainy, but sheer pragmatism. And it's counts as a ship. I think these are technically supposed to be zombies, but again, here's pirates that count as ships instead of the dwarves, the other boats that were... Anyway, not consistent creature typings again. But there's 2 arts. One shows the ship, one shows the crew.
That art's kind of cool.
And 2/2 for 3. When Reef Pirates deals damage to any opponent, take the top card of his or her library and put it into his or her graveyard. Usually doesn't affect play too much unless they've been playing to manipulate the top of the card of their library. But, yeah. Corpses for crew don't sit well with me. Zeke and his dead ship had best keep their distance. That's Manhunt of a Constable.
This set is really exciting. It's just looking. It's we've got like. I appreciate all the people who've been tuning in. It's just watching how many viewers are sticking around.
Well, it's funny. Last time we did a talk on this set, it got good views.
I don't know why.
But this is the tournament level card. Well, partly is probably how it was billed and stuff too.
Well, I mean, I
Anyway.
can change the title, but you didn't tell me what to put. I'm sorry.
Anyway, Merchant Scroll. 2 blue for a sorcery. Search your library for a blue instant or interrupt. That's just instants now, because interrupts count as instants now. Reveal that card to all players and put it into your hand. So right into your hand, tutor. Reshuffle your library. There's no trade without trust. I think this card is actually restricted in Vintage. Basically, being able to tutor up any instant is really strong and put it right into your hand. Sorry, a blue instant even. Yeah, you can go get your Tinker. Or no, Tinker's a sorcery, isn't it? Anyway, you can go get a Mystical Tutor to find your Tinker, or you can go get an Ancestral Recall for more cards, or you can go get a host of other things. You can get your High Tide in a High Tide deck. It's very useful. And that one definitely has seen some tournament play. Then we've got Chain Stasis. This is sort of a follow-up to Chain Lightning from Legends. Tap or untap target creature for 1 blue. Sort of like Twiddle, except Twiddle could do things other than creatures. Whenever any player uses Chain Stasis to tap or untap a creature, that creature's controller may pay 3 to use Chain Stasis to tap or untap any target creature. So this can chain back and forth with your opponent if you're targeting their stuff, or if you're targeting your own stuff, you can do a few things if you've got enough mana. And here we go again, is the quote. I do like the art on this. I think the boat looks quite nice with the lightning effect coming down of the spell, affecting it. Here's another 2 art that go together for Dark Maze. People stuck in this maze of mist. Interesting. Anyway, Dark Maze is a wall. Can't attack normally, but it's a 5 cost 4/5 wall. And you can pay 0. Dark Maze can attack this turn. At end of turn, remove Dark Maze from the game. Dark Maze cannot attack on the turn it comes under your control, so can't give it haste. But after it's been in play, you can throw it at your opponent, but it'll die at end of turn. Stray not into the path of darkness, or be lost forever. And the path of faith is, unfortunately, fraught with failure. Those are the 2. And you can sort of see things in the mist if you look closely there. If you're desperate for a decent-sized blue blocker, that is one that you can throw at your opponent. Now, Coral Reef. This, again, used to see some play among some people I know. So you pay 2, throw this out, enchantment. When Coral Reef comes into play, put 4 pull-up counters on it. You can pay 0 and sacrifice an island to put 2 more pull-up counters on it. And you can pay 1, tap target blue creature you control, and remove a pull-up counter from Coral Reef to put a +1/+1 counter, or sorry, a +0/+1, so a toughness counter, on any target creature. So you can buff up your creatures using it, depending on the situation. Now, I mentioned I used to use Royal Assassins. Here's the slow version. Costs 1 more. It's blue. It's 0/3 instead of 1/1, so a bit more toughness, but you're not attacking with it particularly. You may choose not to untap Giant Oyster during your untap phase. And you can tap it. Target tapped creature does not untap during its controller's untap phase as long as Giant Oyster remains tapped. So you can lock down any creature that they have that's tapped. And during your upkeep, put a -1/-1 counter on that creature. If Giant Oyster becomes untapped or leaves play, remove all those counters from the creature. So it slowly digests until it kills the creature. If they get free, the counters come off, but if you can keep it locked down, it will eventually kill the creature and then be able to go after something else. The other blue card, which saw some play, and still occasionally does, is Memory Lapse. And again, there are two arts for this, because it's common. This was the one I liked less. Marked tendon, some missing puzzle pieces there. Counter target spell, put that spell on top of its owner's library. People didn't like this at first, because again, you're comparing it to regular counterspell. And what's the point of countering a spell if they're just going to get it back on their next turn? It's going to be on the top of their library, they're just going to draw it. But that means they're not drawing something else, so it's still disrupting their card draw. And you don't need 2 blue. You only need 1 for your 2-cost counterspell. So it does have its uses. I would still think that generally I'd rather have counterspell, but you can only play 4 copies of counterspell. So throwing some of these in deck for extra counterspells was certainly a thing, and I used to play it at times for sure. I had a conscience once, but alas, I seem to have forgotten where I put it. Quote from Chandler, of course. This is the art I like better of the two in the set. Instead of a 2D puzzle, it's sort of a 3D sculpture puzzle, with pieces falling out. 2 mana. It also looks more like an ivory statue sort of a thing, which appeals to the classicist in me, I suppose. What was I saying? That also appealed to me in its way. Wall of Kelp. I also know people who played this, talking about ways to generate creatures.
Is that okay? Could change the title of that?
If you want to.
I don't know if it'll do anything.
Probably not. I can't even read right now because I'm distracted with it.
Sorry.
Anyways, but Wall of Kelp, 0/3 for 2 blue, and you can pay 2 and tap it to put a Kelp token into play, which is a 0/1 blue wall. So anytime you've got extra mana at the end of your turn, you just churn out another blue creature token. Yeah, there are 0/1 walls, which means they can't attack, but just having extra creatures on the board to sacrifice or do other things with sure can be handy. And this was one of the easiest ways to do it at the time. You can eat it or you can weave it, but you can't fight in it. Yeah, it could come up the board. This card I always thought was cool. Unfortunately, when you compare it to White Knight and Black Knight, it's just overcosted. Narwhale. You get your 2/2 first strike protection from red. White Knight and Black Knight were 2/2 first strike protection from the opposite color, and they cost 2. This costs 4, twice as much. I mean, it probably would have been a little strong in blue if it would cost 2. And even if it cost 3, it probably would have been above board at the time, or above, what you would expect. But 4 is just a little weak, I'm afraid. So it never saw a lot of play, although a lot of people thought it was really cool, and I did see a couple of people try to squeeze it in at times. Who needs a spear? You break off the horn, and you stab the fish with it. Easy. Well, according to the troll. Trolls have always been trolls. Anyway. Backy's Curse.
That's kind of neat.
It is kind of neat, but it is a curse. So you pay 4. Backy's Curse deals 2 damage to each creature for each creature enchantment on that creature. Creature enchantments were never the most popular types because, again, you were investing more resources. There were things like Rabid Wombat decks that would focus on making one really strong creature, try and keep it alive with regeneration.
Did you say Rabid Wombat?
Yes, Rabid Wombat was a card from Legends. Okay. And it got bigger for each creature enchantment you put on it. So...
Sorry, just thinking of a Rabid Wombat.
Oh, look up the art. It's fun. Anyway. Those who fling spells too quickly should have reason to regret it. And then there's the Wizard School, which gives you the blue a little bit cheaper. The legacy of Pharos lives on. You got the stairs going up into the mountains. All right.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, imagine facing off with one of those.
I have to show it to everybody. Oh my goodness. If this doesn't make you laugh, I don't know what will. Look at that.
Yeah, good old rabid wombat.
Oh my goodness. I want one. I pick a card. And I want to have it somewhere that if I need a laugh, I can just pull it out of my purse and be like, here we go.
Yeah. So we've got torture. And there's 2 different arts for that as well. It helps you pass the time until you die. And so this is Black's common sort of removal spell in the set, or the more common one anyway. Again, enchantment based, so you have to enchant the creature, and then you can pay 2 to put -1/-1 counters on the creature until it goes away. Basically, is how that works. Oh, they scream, right enough, and pleads too, but the Baron keeps no mercy in his vault of horrors.
Okay, this could be if they decide to do a Princess Bride set. I know they got Secret Lair, but if they did a set with Princess Bride, that could be it, like where he's being tortured.
Could be.
I can see it in my mind.
Then you've got the Funeral March. 3-cost enchant creature. When target creature leaves play, that creature's controller sacrifices a creature he or she controls. Ignore the effect if that player controls no creatures. So you put it on one of their creatures, and if it dies, they lose another creature of their choice. You can set that up to be effective at times, but it does require setup.
Are you out of your drink?
Not quite.
Okay.
Kushkum Falls. I think this is currently the most expensive card in the set, if I recall.
That is.
Which is strange to me because I always found this card awkward and annoying. But
I like the
it's
art.
an enchant world. It costs 4. During your upkeep, tap target untapped creature you control or bury it. So you need to have some work to keep it alive, other creatures. And no creature can attack you unless its controller pays an additional 2 whenever that creature attacks. So, again, it's sort of a
Abram's coming
deterrent.
For second supper. We've heard of second
I guess in multiplayer games.
Have you heard of second supper?
Well, in this house, yes. Then we've got the Black Carriage. 4/4 for 5, trample, does not untap during your untap phase, and you can sacrifice a creature to untap the Black Carriage. So again, things that make you sacrifice creatures or tap your creatures, or these were a lot harder to deal with back in the day. Nowadays, it's a lot easier to get creature tokens and things like that into play to deal with these sort of costs. Eyes and Shade, however, did see play, even in some tournaments. It was just, I guess, the state of the metagame at the time. This was a threat. 5/5 body is big enough to be a threat. It costs 6. It's legendary, so that restricts how many you would want in your deck. But protection from white and the fact that it's black meant it was very tricky to get rid of. The common spot removal spells of the time to get rid of creatures were Swords to Plowshares, which was white. It's protection from white. Things like Terror or Dark Banishing can't target black creatures, and it's black. There was Lightning Bolt, but Lightning Bolt only does 3 damage. This is a 5/5. You would need 2 Lightning Bolts to take this sucker down. And those were the 3 most common spot removal type of spells. So, Eyes and Shade definitely had its advantages and did see some play. Nowadays, 5/5 for 6 is just bad, and protection from white is too narrow to be useful generally.
That's a neat looking art.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, Headstone. So, instant, remove from the game target card in any graveyard, draw a card at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. This is to get rid of a big nasty creature in their graveyard that you don't want coming back from a reanimation spell, etc. That's the whole point of it. It does replace itself. There's more efficient, effective ways to do that type of thing now. If you're looking to do that, Tormund's Crypt can just wipe their whole graveyard out for free. But this does replace itself, so,
I used to like looking at different gravestones in the graveyard
Your
and just reading
headstone,
stuff off them.
yeah, your headstone is the
Mhm.
last page in the book of your life, apparently. And then we've got Drudge Spell. This is basically a black version of Night Soil from Fallen Empires that came out the year before. Cost 2 black instead of 2 green. Instead of paying a colorless, you pay a black. Remove from the game 2 target creatures in your graveyard instead of any graveyard. To put a skeleton token into play, treat this token as a 1/1 black creature with pay a black to regenerate. If Dredge Spell leaves play, bury all those tokens. That's an extra clause again. So yeah, it's got more things to make it more fair, but the tokens it makes are marginally better than Saporling tokens because they have regenerate, which can be very annoying. Ghost Hound. And again, it's a way to get more value out of your dead stuff, basically. But I do like Night Soil better because you can pull creatures out of your opponent's graveyard. Ghost Hounds does not, attacking does not cause it to tap, so it's got Vigilance, which is a little bit unusual for black creature. 1/1 for 2, and if assigned to block any white creatures, or any white creatures are assigned to block it, so whenever it's fighting a white creature, Ghost Hounds gains first strike until end of turn. So that can be useful in those niche cases. Again,
like the
it was
art
an
on that
uncommon. It didn't see a lot of play. Not a lot of people had them, and usually you wanted something a little more threatening than a 1/1 for your 2-drop, which black had options for. Whether it was Urg Raiders, whether it was Black Knights, you could usually find something better for your 2-drop in black. But it's not horrid, not by any means. Then we've got the Cemetery Gates. Protection from black, 0/5 wall for 3. Again, against another black deck, could be very annoying. Some people used to use this with Pestilence because it had protection from black, so it was immune. You never had to worry about your Pestilence dying because it ran out of creatures, because it killed them all. This would stick around. It keeps some out, yes. It also keeps others in. And the other art.
I like this one better.
Just the place for a picnic, says the Death Speaker. Then we've got the Greater Werewolf. This is a play off of the Lesser Werewolf, which was in Legends, which came out the year before. So this is a 2/4 for 5. At end of combat, put a -2 defense counter on all creatures blocking or blocked by Greater Werewolf. So it permanently shrinks creatures that fight it. Interesting effect, interesting art. Any werewolves that they started making in later sets usually had transform mechanics. Greater Werewolf, always like this current card. Yeah. It is a neat card. Again, it's just for 5 mana, you'd usually rather drop a Singular Vampire or something. It just wasn't efficiently enough costed. But it was interesting. And again, the art and the flavor, I think, is pretty well done on it. The wolf things are no mere beasts, but the lieutenants of the Baron. Tarsier. And we're now getting into the family Singir. So here's Irani Singir. Again, annoying in certain conditions. Irani Singir, 4 cost 2/2. White enchantments and green enchantments each cost an additional 2 to cast. Could be annoying, but very narrow against 2 specific colors. That cruel beings, being brings shame to all her fellow dwarves. And misery to all the land. She is Singir's daughter in spirit, if not in blood.
Is that a little bit of a tongue twister for you?
Well, actually, I was just having trouble focusing on the words because of the lighting and stuff. But
yeah, the lighting's on the best.
But yeah, this is another card that is supposed to be a dwarf, but you can't tell that because it's a legend, and the legendary rule had rules associated with it, so it trumped any other creature types. And there's probably been errata later to make it a legendary dwarf or something like
That
that.
lighting doesn't help. I thought bringing the light closer would make it easier
Yeah.
to read, but it's not.
Now, the Baron was the billing point of the set. Baron Singir was the most sought after card. Legends, or rumors as the set came, said that this was a card that was supposed to be in Legends that they saved to put in this one. Legends didn't have any single colored legendary creatures that I recall. They were all multicolored. You didn't get monocolored Legends until Ice Age, and this set has probably more than the Ice Age has. So I don't really believe that, but I think they wanted to make sure that power levels in this set were kept under control, which is why all the bigger creatures especially tend to be overcosted. And Baron here is no exception. If he cost the same as Eyes in Shade, if he was a 6 cost, this would have seen a lot more play than it did. But 8 is just too stinking expensive. I mean, that's as much as an Elder Dragon where you're getting a 7/7 flying. So this is a 5/5 flying. Here is put into the graveyard the same turn Baron Singir damaged it, put a +2/+2 counter on Baron Singir. Basically, he's a bigger Singir vampire, which started out as a 4/4 flying for 5, but paying an extra 3 to get a 5/5 instead of a 4/4 that gets a +2/+2 counter instead of a +1/+1 counter is just not worth the extra cost. Plus, you can only have one in play because it's a legend, which is extra downside. Legends used to get a bit of a pass just because they were cool and new at the time. People liked the extra flavor of having a creature that you could only have one in play. But in terms of strictly play mechanics, it's a downside. It's not an upside. And you can tap it to regenerate target vampire. And that's the only real reference in terms of gameplay other than the similar mechanic to Singir Vampire and the name to tell you it's a vampire. Because the legendary creature type wipes that out.
Okay, the next one is really creepy.
Beast Defiler, the source of all my pain. And again, quote from Eisen's
Don't
Shade.
stay on the next one very long.
Right. Well, that's the last member of the Singir family, is Grandmother Singir.
It's creepy.
Yeah, sort of a
What's it?
zombie creature. 3/3 for 5. And you can pay 2 and tap it. Target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. Rarely have power and madness been so delightfully wed as they have in Our Dear Grandmother. And again, that's sort of like a Timming effect to kill off small creatures or injured creatures. But it's a little bit more useful to manipulate creature combat and other things too, or just reduce damage in some strict cases. Anyway, Grandmother Singir is kind of creepy.
Yes.
Then we have Veldrain of Singir. This is sort of a hired hand to the Singir family. 7 cost, again, way overcosted for a 5/5. And its ability gives it Forest Walk, but also -3 power. So it becomes a 2/5 Forest Walk. Usually that's not that useful, although occasionally getting in unblockably is a handy effect. The art is neat. The idea is neat. I just think the cost and execution didn't come out as well as they should have on this one. He is neat looking. Poor, foolish Veldrain. He goes on wherever the Baron wills him. One day he'll go to die. And then the Singir Autocrat. This did see some play as well. 4 cost for a 2/2, and when Singir Autocrat comes into play, put 3 Surf tokens into play. Treat these tokens as 0/1 black creatures. They are not walls, so they can attack. And black had Bad Moon, I should say, which gave all your black creatures +1/+1. So these definitely did see play in decks that ran that sort of thing, or in decks that needed a sacrifice outlet, because this 4 cost gave you 4 creatures, even if only one was 2/2 and the rest were 0/1s. If it leaves play, get rid of all the surf tokens. That's the downside. So you want to sacrifice those first. But anyway, a thankless job and a death sentence besides, said Aaron the Relentless. Then, keeping on the Singir theme, we've got Singir Bats. Now again, Singir Vampire was a 4/4 for 5, but it had basically the same abilities. This is only a 1/2, so it's much smaller to start.
Oof.
Flying whenever a creature is put into the graveyard the same turn, the bats damages it with a +1/+1 counter. So it could get big in theory, but it usually doesn't. It's too small, it dies. It dies before it can ever get big. That's what these do. And there's 2 different arts for this again. They are the eyes of the Baron, and they know your fears. So that Eyes in the Shade. That one flying I always kind of liked, although the hanging bats here have their own charm as well.
Yuck. No.
In the face of everyone, I see the Baron. So, then we've got Dry Spell. Well done art, but not pleasing to look at by any means. Dry Spell deals 1 damage to each creature and player. So again, just a way to thin out small creatures and tokens. There's 2 arts. There's the fish. There's the skull with the helmet. Yeah. Whenever water is lacking, all things suffer, is the one quote. And my soul thirsts for Sarah's salvation, as does my body for life's breath. Eyes in the Shade has a lot of quotes in this. Feast of the Unicorn. Yeah, an enchantment for 4 that gives target creature +4 attack. This certainly can be a buff to a creature that's already troublesome, especially if you're something you're having trouble blocking. But again, like all creature enchantments, that's a big investment, 4 mana and a second card. It does nothing to keep the creature alive, so they're probably going to focus
Feast
on
of the unicorn.
and kill
They're
it.
eating a unicorn?
Absolutely.
That's horrible.
It is. And this came out in 1995. So that's before any of the Harry Potter movies started talking about that.
After the movie Legend. Legend was in the 80s, right?
I guess. I don't know.
I'm gonna Google that.
Could there be a fouler act? No doubt the Baron knows of one. And some delicacies are not to be savored, save by the callous.
Yeah, 1985.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch that movie?
Then we've got the Temerian Fiends. This was the last anti-card ever printed.
Did you ever watch Legend?
I don't think so. Temerian Fiends. So yeah, it's a 1/1 for 3. And you can't play it if you're not playing for anti. And you can pay 3 black
That's creepy.
and sacrifice the Fiends to bury target artifact any opponent owns in your graveyard and put the Fiends in opponent's graveyard. The change of ownership is permanent. So you can steal your opponent's precious artifacts.
I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like this one. Broken Visage. An instant for 5. This is removal, kinda, but man, 5
I like
cost
the art
instant.
better on that one than the last one, though.
Bury target non-artifact attacking creature and put a shadow token into play. Treat this token as a black creature with power and toughness equal to the power and toughness of the attacking creature. Bury the shadow token at end of turn. So your opponent's attacking you with a couple of creatures. You kill one. You use the shadow creature to block and take out another. It's very nasty, but it does cost 5, and yeah, it has to be a non-artifact attacking creature. And in order to get good use out of the token, that's even harder and narrower. So there's that. Then we have the Castle Singir, which is the black one of those lands, where hope has no champion, evil rules all. The only time I actually put this in a deck is if I'm making like a Singir themed or vampire themed deck and just want the flavor. that's about it. And then we're into artifacts, and I threw the last artifact on here because otherwise I had an extra one with nowhere else to go. Pharaoh's Ban. This got a reprint in, was it 6th edition? Something like that. Anyway, cost 6. Summon spells each cost an additional 2 to cast. That would be really annoying and could help decks that, are dealing with aggressive creatures. Except that it costs 6, so it's hard to get into play. Without the protection of Pharaoh's Ban, I fear the homelands are lost. Now, was this one of the top cards? I think it is. Just because it's got so much more potential now than it did when it was printed. And it always struck me as a card with potential. But I never had the cards to really make it work. Like I said, I never got the cards I needed to make an effective Minotaur deck. But if I was going to do it, oh baby, this would be in there. Didgeridoo.
I'll look.
1 cost artifact. And you can pay 3 to take a Minotaur from your hand. Yeah.
Isn't that like a term that they use in Harry Potter?
I don't think so. Maybe.
I feel like
it's probably in the book somewhere.
Luna uses the word or something.
Anyway, it's a reference to like a traditional instrument from Australia. It is a funny looking card, but the Didgeridoo can take Minotaurs from your hand and put them directly into play for 3 as though it were just summoned. Most Minotaurs only cost 3 or 4, so that wasn't that big a bonus.
The second most.
But being able to do it at instant speed is nice. So yeah, I recommend this card heavily if you're ever playing a Minotaur deck. Gives you something to do on turn 1 where there's not a lot of Minotaurs to play. And being able to drop them for 3 at instant speed, especially if you're dropping Minotaurs that would otherwise cost you 5 or more. Very nice. Very, very nice. Play the song of he who delivered us. Play the song of Pharaohs. But yeah, I just never got critical mass of Minotaurs. I started to look again when Tangarth came out, which was a 4/4 Minotaur for 5, back around, probably 89 or 98 or so. But I was never able to get, like I said, a critical mass of Minotaurs to really make a deck go of this. So maybe one day. I'm sure there's more options now.
Oh my goodness.
Next we have the Clockworks. So Clockwork Swarm, Clockwork Gnomes, better art, weirder card. And it's down here. Clockwork Steed. I didn't keep them together for some reason, but we'll get anyways.
Oh boy.
Clockwork Beast was...
I like this art.
Clockwork Beast. Yeah, these sort of remind me of Time Elemental. It's similar to other Amy Weber arts. But yeah, Clockwork Swarm. Clockwork Beast was basically a 7/4 creature for 6 that wound down its power as it lost energy. This starts out as a 4/3 with its +1 attack counters on it, which wind down whenever it attacks or blocks. At the end of a combat, remove one of them. And you can tap it and pay X to rewind it, basically, and put the counters back on.
Yeah.
This one's bonus ability is it cannot be blocked by walls, which is very niche, especially now when walls barely exist anymore. But once they did. Clockwork Gnomes is a 2/2 for 4, and you can pay 3 and tap it to regenerate target artifact creature. More useful ability, expensive to use, but kind of cute and useful in the right circumstances.
That could be a fun way to send to people if you want to bug somebody and they're creeped out by gnomes.
I suppose.
You just send this to them in a card.
Until I came to the floating isle, I never had to oil the servants.
It's funny.
It is kind of. It's actually got some potential, but I've rarely seen it used. And then I'll just skip down to the Clockwork Steed, which is a horse. Same stats as the Swarm, but this one cannot be blocked by artifact creatures. And there are more of those around these days than walls. So it's got nice art too. Another Amy Weber piece. But yeah, the Clockwork Gnomes are the only clockwork creature at this time that doesn't have this depletion counter effect, basically.
I like it.
I do too. They never saw a lot of play, but I mean, for 4 mana, they sometimes did. Depends how bad you're looking for creatures. In a draft or something, these would often get picked up. Clockwork Avian from Antiquities was probably the most popular of the clockwork critters, and that was a 4/4 flying for 5 that wound down. So then we've got the Rotorthopter. This is a take on the Ornithopter from Antiquities, which was a 0/2 flying for 0. This is a 0/2 flying for 1, but you can pay 2 to give it +1 attack until end of turn, up to twice a turn. So it can do 2 damage a turn if you've got lots of extra mana. Otherwise, it's just an Ornithopter that cost 1. The Rotorthopter is as insidious as it is ingenious. It is one of the few creations of our school that I take no pride in. Next, we have the Apocalypse Chime. This was the last of the Set-Hosing cards. So we had City in a Bottle in Arabian Nights. You had the Golgothian Silex in Antiquities that would destroy Antiquities cards. And then Apocalypse Chime. 2 artifact, pay 2, tap and sacrifice the chime to bury all cards from the Homelands expansion. One day or another, perhaps I shall ring my pretty chime loudly so that all may hear. For a set that had very few cards that were used commonly, this became even less useful. And most of the cards that were used from this tended to be the instants, like the Memory Lapse and the or the Sorcery Speed Enchantment, the Merchant Scroll, stuff like that. So they weren't permanents. Serrated Arrows did see a bit of play because it was good for dealing with Pump Knights, which were common after Ice Age, and Fallen Empires had the Order of Litbur, Order of the Ebon Hand, Order of the White Shield, all those fun 2/1 protection from the opposite color for 2 mana that could be pumped their attack. And this comes into play with 3 arrowhead counters on it, and you can tap it, remove a counter, and put a -1/-1 counter on target creature. So anything with 1 toughness, this could just kill 3 of those, or it could be used in combat between creatures where you would lose to make it into a winning scenario. Or it could just whittle down a very troublesome creature that you couldn't deal with otherwise. It did see some play. But as far as removal goes, it's pretty weak these days. And a little slow. And we've got Joven's Tools. Another thing to peek out and expand the lore of Joven and the Thieves. Target creature cannot be blocked except by walls until end of turn. Very expensive though, 6 to play, 4 to use. Just too expensive most of the time. But very strong effect if it was too cheap. So that's why it was the way it was at the time. Anyway, if that Thief Joven ever shows his head around here again, make sure he leaves without it. Right. And then finally we have the Ebony Rhino. Just a plain old 4/5 trample for 7. Too expensive. Artifact creatures were cool, but again, being an artifact and a creature meant it could be hit by 2 types of removal spells. That Rhino would fetch a tidy sum, Joven. Perhaps it is time to make it ours. Says, one thief to another. Well, there's the cards from Homelands. Like I said, that was a set that released after I started playing, so I collected it, I liked it, but really, it's not a great set. And
It's got some nice art.
It does have some nice art. It does have some useful cards. I played Memory Lapse a lot. I played a few other things. because, I had them. And I was still
Well,
working with that.
our poll has 5 votes still,
Yeah.
but 60% of the votes say
It seems like
Stay
not a lot of
open.
people care. And
Well,
like I said, on our first one, it was close
do you
and
have the
people
whole
didn't
set?
want
That
to.
was the whole set.
That is the whole set. I have all the cards. There's nothing from here I really need, unless I was trying to make play sets of some of the more obscure rares. So I really don't have a reason to open this right away. It just seemed like it might be a nice way to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the set
I
releasing.
mean, it's already basically opened.
Well, no, not really. And we could always save it for the 40th anniversary if that's what people preferred anyway. So
Well, it's 60% open. People, the voting says 60% to open.
you just want me to open this, do you?
It's already halfway there.
Do I have the whole set? Yes, I have the whole set.
Yeah, we already answered that.
And yeah, that's basically what it is.
We don't have to open every single pack in it, but you can open a couple as a hurrah to the 30th anniversary.
I suppose I could.
It's not like it's my Lost Origin booster box that nobody wants me to open, except for a few people. But everybody else is saying, keep it sealed. So I have to.
Well, this is a lot older than most of our... Actually, this might be our oldest sealed product.
Yeah, well,
So,
but my Lost Origin booster box is worth more
yeah.
than that.
Well, anyone who's in chat now, what do you guys think?
The people have spoken. Open, open. The people have spoken. I haven't closed the poll yet, so.
Any last minute votes to go in there?
I don't think anybody else wants to vote. Don't open it.
Yeah, Ryan's been consistent. He doesn't think we should open it. I'm of
And open that Lost Origins booster box already.
Not on this stream, anyway.
No, not on this stream.
Well, I'm certainly not opening all the packs. If I'm going to open it, I'm just going to open a few.
Yeah.
But,
I say open a few. Because, look at that. It's just, oops. It's just a few more.
you're not sneaking any packs out of there anyway, so
No.
basically still...
It's practically opened already, right? He doesn't want to open it.
Push. I just, it's there hasn't been a whole lot of interest, and it's been very narrow. It's been one vote either way.
Yeah.
And it's been in different ways each time we've asked. So it's not exactly resounding.
Okay, well, granted, my post, when I put a community post, not a lot of people see those. It's only like the true hardcore fans that go there to see those. And I wouldn't even use fans as the right word. The people have spoken. Don't make me repeat myself. Oh, you better open it. Founder's going to get you.
Technically speaking, it's better to keep it sealed, but at the same time, it is falling apart.
Yeah,
so,
it's not like you paid a lot of money for it.
Well, no, but that's neither here nor there either.
Let's do it. Don't make her repeat herself.
Yeah, well, don't make Ryan repeat himself either.
But
they're the only two who are commenting, and they're saying different things.
Yeah, okay, but we did have a poll, and more people voted to open it. You're making her mad. I need sleep. Oh my goodness. Oh, it's a tease. Good cough.
Ryan is not at all impressed. Why take a poll? Well, why did we get votes on the short leading up to this either? But
I was planning on having a poll during.
I was hoping it would be a little more decisive either way, to be honest. No, you're not the only one, but you're the only one who still seems to be here.
Yeah.
So there's that too.
I think, didn't Broly say open it, but then he left or he fell asleep?
Oh,
Maybe
it
put him
could
to
be.
sleep.
That's possible. Well, I don't know. It probably isn't going to last another decade to the 40th
No, it
anniversary anyway.
Nope.
But I'll never get another one, so there's that too.
Yeah.
So.
But we did have a poll, and Founder is right. Why put a poll up and...
Oh, I suppose.
We're...
Sorry, Ryan.
Ryan.
I really appreciate you making your... because like I said, I was mixed about it, and... but I guess it is about time. I've been holding on to this for so long. This way we can start to use some of the packs for other
we can do
content in the future as well. Yeah.
With some of your Fallen Empires.
Yeah. So let's rip the sucker open.
Only 5 people vote. That doesn't count. Too late. Look at that. It's open now. It's officially open. Ryan's
Happy
gonna go cry.
30th anniversary for Homelands. The packs are still sealed, so.
Yep. Oh my goodness. Poor Ryan. Poor Ryan. Yeah, we could always do a giveaway at some point for one of these packs.
I suppose we could.
Or 2.
Look at all that detail they put on that back.
He's crying.
Yeah, I know.
Happy 30th anniversary. Yahoo! Yeah, Homelands. Some of the... Oh no, it's just... I thought the coloring looked different.
No, these packs, they didn't even put art on them. So they're not that pretty to look at even. Like...
No. They make me think of the Wicked Witch of the West. From Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. So it's a 60-pack box. There's quite a bit there to work with.
Yeah, they had less cards in them than they have now, right? It's just... Oh my goodness.
Let's see what we got.
Should we open it or should we have kept it sealed?
Oh, we should have kept it sealed unquestionably. There's nothing in the set worth opening. So
I know.
It's just for fun and flavor. So we got a Reef Pirate. That's a common. Acid Bureaucrat. Samite Alchemist. Oh, we got a Chandler. There's an uncommon. Ambush Party. That's weird. Hungry Mist is another common. Spectral Bears, I think, is an uncommon. And or are these the two? Is Chandler common? Wow. I should check that.
Okay, you can say.
I got 3 cards in here that I thought were uncommons.
Okay, which ones?
Still great art, it is.
Sorry.
Chandler was in with the commons.
Chandler?
Maybe he's common.
He's not on the first page.
Anyway, we got Spectral Bears and Sea Spray. These are both semi-playable.
On the second page. Where's Chandler?
Let's open another. I'm probably only going to open,
Oh, common, yeah.
3 to 6 packs. Interesting. There's a legend, so I thought it was uncommon.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, the bears is an uncommon.
Oh, we got a Coral Reef. Aliban's Tower. Cemetery Gate. A lot of the cards in this are defensive. Shrink. We got Jinx. Drudge Spell. And a Sarah Inquisitor. Nothing too great yet. Should we do one more?
Sure.
Where's our clip function of this?
I don't. It does. It automatically. I think it's.
Homelands.
Is it the camera?
I don't know.
They changed the. Let's see that. Nope. Nope.
What did we do?
Nope. There. Oh, that's probably for when we have to. Hold on a second. This one.
Create highlight. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that's an awful time to do it.
That's okay. I can delete it. But It's like if you need to go and do something, and they,
I think this will be the last pack for now. We basically opened one
Yeah.
from the top of each row. Oh, what the heck?
What happened?
Well,
Flipped all over?
apparently it was sliding sideways here, so these are kind of out of place. Interesting. So they're sort of shuffled.
Mm.
That's weird. Anyway. Let's see what we get.
Do you have any other booster boxes still sealed?
For Magic?
Yeah.
No.
Aside from our collection one that we have. Collector booster box.
I had very little sealed, and now I have none, basically. So,
I'm sorry.
Dark Maze, Aliban's Tower, Funeral March. I still have an Ice Age starter deck, but not a booster box. I opened one of my 2 Ice Age starter decks for that 30th anniversary. So,
Yeah.
draw to spell. Oh, we got a Roots and a Dwarven Sea Clan.
I like that one.
Yeah.
That art's
Not
nice.
the most playable, but it is a fun theme card. Like I say, some of these cards do have sort of a Hobbit theme to me. So it'll be interesting, flavor-wise, come in the future. Anyway, we didn't pull anything particularly nice so far out of this. And like I said, I don't want to dig too deep into the box tonight. But it is nice to pull a couple things.
These packs are, some of these are in rough shape. Like, look at the whitening on that one.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely not a gradable pack. Anyway, that's probably because it was rubbing up against this side. We want to do one more?
Do one more.
All right.
The one with the whitening edge. Maybe it's special.
And then, like I said, we can save some to do things otherwise. Or maybe...
Oh, I missed some comments. So
I can trade some.
You only live once. I say enjoy the cards while you can.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Well, there's the Folk of Van Hava dancing around, celebrating. So, hey, happy 30th anniversary. There's another dry spell. Another Cemetery Gate. Another Zeki's Reef Pirates. Another Ambush Party. Hungry Mist. And we got a Sea Troll. And Winter Sky. Yeah. Again, nothing too great there. So, some of the more interesting goodies are probably yet to come, and we will use those at a future time.
And in case anyone wasn't paying attention, the Jays won tonight.
Yep.
So.
And I've still got about 30 packs or more of Fallen Empires sealed, so we can do something between the two of those as well.
Yeah. So, oh, this other one with the cool waves is there too. I like the...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Sea Troll.
I really like that. I like this one. If we had this in a bigger art, I'd have it on the wall. So.
And the Winter Sky, which is...
So, this week we've got lots going on. Thursday we're going to do probably Black Bolt and White Flare.
Do like the Bears.
And, Brinley's birthday stream we're going to be doing this weekend too, I think. Although we don't know when we're supposed to get together with her parents for her birthday.
Right.
I'm assuming we're going to get together with them this weekend.
Oh, probably. Anyhow.
So, stay tuned. We'll let you know Thursday what our plans are for Brinley's birthday stream. So, there'll be Lego, there'll be Pokemon. I don't know what else.
There will.
So, alrighty. So, we're exhausted. I'm
Thanks
exhausted.
for joining us.
We'll definitely call it a night. We're not going to try and raid anybody because, yeah, birthday cake, maybe. We have a few birthdays we didn't end up having birthday cakes for because we were planning on getting together and doing a multi-child birthday party with friends, and that never happened. You know, Lego, yeah. We got Bluey Lego for her or something.
Yeah, we did.
She really likes the Animal Crossing Lego stuff, though. So maybe we should have bought her an Animal Crossing Lego set now that they're going on sale.
Maybe.
That way she can just have it. We don't have to try and protect the Lego from her.
No.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys on Thursday, probably our regular time. There is a meeting that we have in the morning at the school, but the kids will be home.
Yeah.
Because they don't have school Thursday and Friday.
These cards are actually not that badly warped or in that bad shape compared to some.
So we'll catch you guys later. Thanks for joining us.
Yep.
Thanks for hanging out with us. I'm exhausted. I need sleep. So we love you guys. We appreciate you. And we will catch you guys on Thursday.
Sounds good.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Much love, much appreciation. See you soon. I can't even.
Cheerio.
I'm so tired.
Toodaloo. Good night.